Hello, welcome to my February monthly review. My name is Jason Bach, and I've got a couple of books to go through and just one movie. Didn't get a lot of movie watching in February. Didn't read as much as I did in January, but that's to be expected because I wasn't on vacation. So let me go through, and we're going to go through the first one. Okay, so the first book I read is called, or not the first one I read, but the first one I'm going to review is called Republic of Lies. And this is written by Anna Merlan. So this is essentially a book about conspiracy theories. Not saying conspiracy theories and talking about them in terms of saying, "Ooh, what are the really secret things that are in the world?" But why do we have, like the subtitles, American Conspiracy Theorists and Their Surprising Rise to Power. So it's this thing of, why do we have so many conspiracy theories? And why are people, it at least appears that we're getting more people that are tying into these conspiracy theories, like vaccines are terrible for you. And so now we see more of an uprise in people getting measles and other diseases. It's like unheard of. It was a good book. The thing that I think really got to me when I was reading the book is I was getting this kind of feeling of anger reading the book, and not at the author, but just at the fact of there are just some bizarre, ludicrous theories out there that people in positions of power in our government, and I won't say how high, but I think you can put two and two together, that in some way directly or indirectly believe this crap. And it's maddening that we live in a country that I think has so much brain power, and that we're burning it away, for lack of a better phrase. So it's pretty eye-opening and it was also interesting that the author made a point of showing that there's not like a kernel of truth, but you can find origins to all these things in some way, to say, where did these things kind of start? Maybe as rumor, maybe as there was some sort of truth to what's going on, but they get snowballed into these just wild, bizarre theories that, just spin madly out of control, and yet people will believe this crap, So you can even see I'm getting a little agitated right now. Yeah, it's a good book, and it shows just how much people, and I say people, me included, constantly have to make sure that we're questioning ourselves, in terms of, is this really true? Is this just a bunch of crap that somebody's, putting out on Twitter? Don't buy everything you read. Even if you agree with it, question it. Constantly question. Don't just take some wild-ass idea that somebody's throwing out on the table and going, well, that sounds like connecting those 5,000 dots in very, tenuous ways. Well, my goodness, that is such a compelling theory. No, it's not. Shut up. So it's a good book. I enjoyed it. All right, the next book is called The Book of M. And I apologize on the name. Peng Shepherd. Okay, yeah, Peng Shepherd. So this is a fictional book about a world where people start to lose their shadows. Literally, like one person, I believe in India, loses his shadow. And this is actually a real phenomenon. Like there's certain points in the year, depending upon where you are on the globe, where the sun is like literally directly above you. So for a brief moment of time, there is no shadow below you. It is because, the angle is such that it does not cast a shadow. And then as the sun moves, and the shadow starts coming back in. But this person starts losing their shadow, and more people start losing their shadows. And if you lose your shadow, you slowly start to lose your memory and who you are. And you also eventually start going kind of insane, for lack of a better term. It also starts getting really weird in terms of how your reality and your lessening of memory can change the reality in the real world. I don't want to say too much because there's some really bizarre scenes in the book. I have mixed feelings on this book. It started out intriguing. It started out with a where the hell kind of concept is this going? And that made me go, I'm on for the ride. I thought this was good. But then as the book went on, it kind of just petered out, and I just could not stay that entrenched in the book. I will say stick with it to the end, though, because I think there is some payoff at the end. But it just, overall, it really didn't resonate with me. It's not to say it's a bad book, but the story just, I think, it just kind of tapers off. It's in terms of the hooks that it got into me, they just kind of slowly went away. And I felt myself kind of coasting the more as I read the book, and I didn't really feel that engaged with the story. I did find it interesting that they bring in another cultural religion, so to speak, and made that kind of the basis of the book. Okay, that was kind of cool. But yeah, just that's the best way I could say is mixed feelings about the book. Some good, some not so good. Okay. Let's do the movie next. So the one movie that I did watch in February was Parasite. So this is the one that won Best Picture at the Academy Awards this year. The guy who directed it also directed Snowpiercer. So if you saw that movie, same director. I thought Snowpiercer was a good movie. Also had some very kind of just interesting takes on class and society through the train and stuff like that. I thought that was a good movie. My feeling about Parasite, after I watched it and thought about it a little bit, I put this on Twitter and I said, is this a good movie? Yes, it is definitely a good movie. I would recommend you seeing it. Is it of the caliber to say it is Best Picture? Well, I mean, whatever you think Best Picture means, I personally, it's like asking me what's my favorite this or what's my favorite that. I don't like doing that because it seems to lessen all these other movies or all these other things are just as good. And I don't want to pick one at the expense of others. So saying, Best Picture, what does that even mean? That being said, it winning Best Picture, I'm not really sure about that. I don't know if it was that good to win Best Picture. But don't get me wrong. It was a good movie to watch. And I went in knowing nothing about the movie. And I kept it that way because people said you really don't want to know anything about the movie. Stay ignorant of it. Go in and just watch. And I did, and I think that helps tremendously. So I really don't want to tell you anything about the plot at all. Needless to say, it's a movie I think worth watching. I will tell you about one scene, and I'm not going to give it all away, but there is one scene that's a little bit of a flashback to the son. There's an allusion. There's a quick mention that he saw a ghost in the house. Well, eventually in the movie later on, that is flashed back to where he actually sees the ghost. Now, I can't tell you more than that because if I do, I'm giving something away. But that scene really freaked the crap out of me. It was just, and it was that, and it was also funny. Because, well, yeah, I know. But the way that was shot and the way that happens, holy cow, I don't know why the what you see, it's not like it's gory. It's nothing like that. It's not like there's a jump scare. It's just the shot and what it was like, oh, this is so perfect. And damn, that just, oh, yeah. So, out of everything in the movie, for some reason, that scene just sticks out of my head. But it's a good story. It's well acted. And it is part comedy, part horror, part drama. It's got it all. And I think it's got it all in good doses for all of it. So Good movie. Highly recommend it. We'll do this one next. I just finished this one literally like a couple hours ago. This is called Midnight in Chernobyl, and it is by Adam Higginbotham. Hopefully I said that right. Non-fictional story about Chernobyl and what kind of happened, and also the aftermath, and kind of getting into the fact of this has probably never been really cleaned up and probably never will be. It's the damage. I don't know if we're really ever going to truly know just how much it was. It helped to watch the HBO series. I think I mentioned that in a previous monthly review episode that my wife and I watched Chernobyl, and that helped, I think, a little bit with names and characters. Those, like, I think the woman character in the main one in the series is kind of a conglomeration of a bunch of people, and that just was to compress the time and everything that they do in the series. That being said, there are some characters in the series that are definitely real people. I mean, and they're in this book. And so starting to able to equate, that Russian name is actually that person, and okay, I remember all that. So it's a good summary of what happened, and kind of how it was the catalyst for the fall of the USSR and communism and Gorbachev and everything else. The damage it did was, again, we may not know the full extent of it, but was in the billions of dollars or rubles or how whatever you want to qualify the currency as. Pretty scary. Pretty scary stuff. And what he makes a point at the end of the book that I thought was interesting, which is nuclear power, and especially with some new generation reactors that I think use thorium. I think that was, or some other element, actually end up being clean in a lot of ways. There's no carbon dioxide output. These new reactors, the half-life of the material is in the order of hundreds of years, not thousands and thousands of years. We're so adverse to it because of things like Chernobyl. But there's also this thing of, there's still a lot of benefit to be made to using nuclear power, and I'm not saying let's go there, but it did make me think and go, well, that's a lot of power. And yes, we have to be careful with it. And I'm all for wind and solar, and I think we should spend more on renewable, put time into renewable resources and all that other stuff. Because when you do have an accident like this, holy crap. But you could also say a lot of it was attributed to the fact that the reactor design was so unstable and was just arguably a ticking time bomb. It was going to happen at some point. So it is not to be messed with and be respected, is I think the point of the book. Highly respected. So it's a good book. Next one is kind of a fun math book. I know some people might go, math is never fun, but Humble Pie by Matt Parker. I've read his other book. I think it's called Things to Do and something else in the Fourth Dimension. Do you usually talk about that? Things to Make and Do in the Fourth Dimension. I think this is actually the British version, because it's maths errors, where I think the one that is printed in the United States is math errors, because they say maths. So, all sorts of different errors that have happened in computers and other places that are based around math. I love it that the pages of the book are also in reverse order, and the first page starts at 314. I saw an interview with him on Adam Savage's show, and he said that they basically got the book page count to start at 314 on purpose. He did it because he wanted to start at 314 pi. Fun book. You don't have to know math in detail. It's meant for the layperson to read. Lots of fun stuff. They actually, the thing on Excel spreadsheets was pretty interesting, because for the automatic conversion that Excel tries to do and be fancy, with things that are in genetics, they'll sometimes have SEP11 or something like that, or NOV12, and it will convert it to a date, and it shouldn't be doing that. and how many, I just saw a report somewhere that talks about how many mistakes have been made in papers because of automated conversion in Excel. So that was kind of funny. Again, fun book. You don't have to be a mathematician to read it. And it's literally a humbling read on how many mistakes we make and just how easy it is to make those mistakes and to screw things up. So I recommend it. All right, the last one, kind of the best for last, is, it's kind of heavy, Wanderers by Chuck Wendig. This, easily highly recommendable. It was one of those books that is truly a page turner and could not put down type of books. The basic storyline is some people in America start doing what looks like sleepwalking, except their eyes are open and they just keep walking, and you can't wake them up. If you try to stop them, yeah, bad things can really, really happen. That won't spoil the surprise or the fun. And so, as one person to two to three to, as more and more people start this kind of trek towards they don't know yet. Why are these people doing this? Why are they randomly picked? What's going on? It was a fun story to kind of, find the unravelings, find out what's actually happening, what's going on, and then tie all the stuff together. That was fun. It's also, I think, a very scary commentary on, in some ways, social media, and also white supremacy and groups within this country that, we have, the coronavirus going on right now, and that's not like this per se, but the disruptions that this may cause, and some people say will cause, does that lead to groups taking advantage of that? I don't know. It makes me think a little bit, but yeah, we'll see. But it does, I think, speak to what I was talking about before with conspiracy groups and conspiracy theories and all this stuff, and trying to find a narrative to this, and then taking a lack of a power structure in government and using that as an opportunity. So, very good book. I saw some reviews on Amazon were very negative of it. The language is bad. I try to keep my videos clean in terms of language, but I have no problem at all with that. That doesn't bother me in the slightest, because I will say all those words. Doesn't matter to me. It's not a big deal. It's not a deal at all. Some people thought it was too socially commentary. Well, what do you want? I mean, that's kind of the point of the book, is to make a commentary on the state of the union, so to speak. And I'm not ripping this book up. Yeah, I really liked it, and I'll say this. The ending is something that I read the whole book, and I think this is a standalone book, and I read the ending, and I'm sitting there going, it doesn't end in a way that needs a whole series. But I sat there and went, I think there's a whole entire new story to go with, and I hope he does. I really hope he does, and just goes like in the timeline with how it ends, and says, where do we end up somewhere down the line, and come up with a whole new story based in this universe. I think that would be insanely interesting to read, but I don't know if the author has any plans to do that. Be that as it may, great book. Highly recommend reading it. I definitely think if you're looking for a good read to just sink your teeth into and get sucked into, where you're like, I want to go to bed and I can't because I got to finish this, that's a book to do. Okay? So that's all I got for February. Next month, hopefully I have some more books. I've actually, the next book on my stack, I purposely put at the top because I just got it a day or two ago. I won't say what it is right now, but I'm really, really looking forward to diving into that book. I already heard some really good things about it, so we'll see where that goes. I will try to get a couple more movies in and on my list that I'm looking over here and do some reviews on those. So until March, that's all I got for now. So thank you all for watching.